Well, I mean, it's okay for light. You can kind of see what's going on. There we go. Much better. You can see everything in that garage now.
Hello, I'm Wanderer001, and this is my review of the LZHOME LED Garage Light. Now, you might be asking yourself, why am I looking at a LED light bulb equivalent review on YouTube? Chances are probably if you're here, you're not asking yourself those questions, but if you randomly happen to find this video, here's why. Chances are your garage has something that looks like this, or like this, hanging from the ceiling. And if that's the case, your garage is not as bright as it could be. On a second thought, the particular light bulbs that I have in my hands also are in your attic. So think of it this way, better lighting in your garage and or better lighting in your attic. Now you might be asking yourself yet again, who is this guy and why is he reviewing light bulbs? Well, over there in the corner you'll see a playlist that pops up letting you know that I have an affinity for LED lights in general. So stay tuned for some information here or check out some of those other LED light bulbs that I have. Coming back to the LZHOME, this particular light array actually comes in a 2-pack. That's the one that I got. So I have one out in my garage and one in my attic. Hence why I said they could be used in both places. This array is going to give you 9,000 lumens or 82 watt equivalent of bright white light where you place it. It accomplishes this by 3 different LED panels consisting of 72 LED diodes right there, giving you 216 LED points for the light array itself. Aside from the LED light array, you also get they call it a free gift, as per their manual right here, gift, a lamp holder. They're very generic instructions. You really don't need to worry about them, or this, as long as you have sockets already in place, because this light array uses a standard 26 connection or screw right there. You'll notice that the light array itself is foldable. The lights themselves do fold out however you like them, because the one thing with this particular light array, and we'll pull that back a little bit, is that because the LEDs are flat, this is very much a directional light pattern, meaning wherever you're pointing these are where the light is going to be. So you may have some areas that are a little shadowier than others. You'll notice you have your connection wire from the base to the actual LED panels. You also have these very large heat sinks, and this is an aluminum heat sink to draw out that heat from the actual panel itself. Now, because science and notes, quick tap here, and you could see my min-max there of testing this panel's heat after leaving it on for about 5 minutes. Now, I did get it up to about 125 on the direct panel itself, while the heat sinks weren't as hot as I thought they would be to draw out that heat from the actual LED panels. This particular lighting array does not have a motion sensor on it, and I don't really know why the seller needed to specify that, but this doesn't have a motion sensor. It's just a light array. The stated watt equivalent for this was 82 watts. However, when testing, I found that it drew about 71.7, maximum of 78.4 watts of power, because I like to do thorough testing even for something like this, for a light array. There are some things to consider with this as well. One of the notices, we'll say, is that there is a delay from flicking the switch to these powering on. So if you need instantaneous light, you're not going to get that with this. There's like a almost imperceivable delay, but just know that it's there. I know that me talking about this doesn't really do anything because it's a light. You want to see how it looks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at this in my attic, comparing it to 2 bulbs, and then in my garage comparing it to two bulbs. So you get an idea of what you're looking at and why I think something like this is very useful to upgrade to.
Here's an example of the attic. Nope, there's no light source except for some venting cutouts. And we can see just how dark this place really is, even coming over to an attic fan. Now let's get some lights installed. First we have the little LED light. Kind of spin things around here just to give you an idea. By the light source it's very bright, but as we move further away, things get darker. So again, swinging back, just to see how bright things are. Next, we actually have that larger LED bulb. So notice, size does not always mean brighter when we compare. The little LED bulb actually gave off more lumens than the current one. You can tell that because over there in the corner, the previous owner of my house had a TV antenna in the attic. And there's the attic fan. And if we come back, again, it's very dark over there. And as we get closer to the light source, we can see it's brighter. So remember, bigger doesn't always mean better. And here we have our directional LED setup. You can see right there, it's nice and bright. We swing around this way, still bright, cross beam. And as we get over to this corner here, it's still brighter than it was, but not as bright as I would like it to be. There you can see the exhaust box fan. You can also see a shadow on the floor there, and that's because of where this light is situated. It's hard to see with the lights on, but there is a cross beam there that kind of takes away some of the brightness of the LED because something's in the way, which means you're going to get shadows in places that you might not want because of it. And case in point is all the way over there. Now, if you're doing this in a garage, like we'll do next, it's not as noticeable because generally you're not going to have beams in your way. You're going to have even rough sheetrock. Still daylight in the garage, and I get some light in from the cutouts there, and behind me there's a door that has a window, but this will give a good idea of a baseline of how dark things are. So there we got the wall, and then we pan it over to the Costco and the Ego corner right there, and we'll bring it back. Here we have the original LED that was replacing a old CFL that was in this room. So you can see it's not doing a lot, and it's got the orange tinge to it. And yes, I do understand that, you know, it's because of the color choice of the light bulb, but just keep in mind that this is kind of like your singular hanging LED light bulb that you would get and put in a lamp. So might not be the best replacement for a garage, and hopefully you can hear me okay because neighbors are running some sort of equipment. But if you can hear me and not the buzzing in the background, that would be thanks to the microphone I have attached here. So that review is in the corner if you're interested. All right, here is our bigger is not always better example. So again, classic LED light bulb, kind of the same color tone that the other one was, but you can see it's not super bright. In fact, if I come back and reach behind me and turn off the lights, you really can't see much of a difference between the light being on and the light being off. And yes, again, it is color tone, it is lumens, but again, it is the type of bulb that you would generally find in a garage in those single outlets. Here we can see the LED trifold light there, how bright it makes the room now. The other thing that I wanted you to notice, this is also why I kind of am doing it from this corner here, is like we talked about, it's a very directional light. So right there in that corner, you kind of see that there's some shadowing. That's primarily because if we tilt this back right there, you can see that the LED light is right by my garage door opener. And that is preventing light from getting to that little corner there because it's being blocked by the garage door opener. So it's a very directional light. But since I have it pretty much pointed down, it brightens up the floor a lot.
Hopefully you found some portion of the visual display useful. I am going to say, pro tip, make sure that you have a different light on in your garage or attic when trying to install these. Only because I tend to look up when I'm installing a light bulb, and when the power's on and these flash in your face, it's very bright. I know that seems like common sense, but in my attic there's no other light source, so I tend to forget sometimes. That being said, the question then becomes, how much does this cost? Well, depending on when you get this, where you get this, if there's a lightning deal happening on Amazon, for instance, you could pick this up, the 2-pack, anywhere between $50 and $60. For me, that's great because LEDs, they're gonna last a long time. The stated lifespan for this is 50,000 hours. So for most people, that's gonna be enough time. You can get this once and you never replace it unless you live in your garage or attic. I don't know. I spend time in there, but not enough to burn through these anytime soon. So for me, this was a great buy. As you saw from the playlist over in the corner, I have an affinity for light sources. So I was really happy to pick this up. Keep in mind, because it is the directional, you are going to have to point these where you want them to illuminate, but that is beneficial because maybe you don't want your ceiling to be illuminated. You want the floor or specific area in your garage illuminated. This will help you with that. If you're installing this where the cross beams are in an attic, you will have to fold all of these down in order to get this installed properly. So just a little extra note for you to consider. With that being said, I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.